Welcome to the Right Hand Roadmap, the podcast for seconds in command of founder-led companies. I'm your host, Megan Long, owner of Second First. In each episode, we show you the path to success on your journey as the #2 leader in entrepreneurial companies. I am so happy you are here. In working with one-on-one coaching clients lately, we've been working on revenue goals for the new year. And something I have seen a lot is that there isn't a lot of strategic planning going into what the revenue goals are and how they'll hit them. So we are going to talk about how to set accurate revenue goals for the year and how to make sure you actually hit them. Here's what I'm seeing. The CEO or entrepreneur names a number. They'll say, last year we did 10 million. This year I want to do 11 million in revenue. The second in command and I meet for our coaching session and review what came out of annual planning. What are the revenue and profit goals and what are the big rocks or annual goals for the year? When I ask follow-up questions like, do you have enough salespeople to sell $11 million in revenue? It's met with a good question. Then, of course, we work backwards on what's needed in order to hit that revenue goal, or if it's even possible with their current team. So let's dig into that work together. And my caveat is that this is not really for e-commerce companies. I've worked one-on-one with those as well, and it is a whole different beast with a whole different set of metrics and many more data points. So let's dig in. There's a worksheet that we created that you can download at secondverse.com/36 that you can work through these exercises. So if you're on the go, be sure to download that PDF later to work through it. So let's start with the sales funnel. First, you need to pull the data from the last 6 to 12 months, depending on what sample set is most like your current state now. So if you didn't have a sales system or a sales team until like 6 months ago, we'll just use 6 months. Whatever that chosen date range is, we will need 5 pieces of information. First, the number of sales, so the quantity of deals won, the count. 2, the total number of proposals or quotes sent, both won and lost. 3, total sales. So this is the dollar amount sold in total for your date range. 4, the number of salespeople during this time period. If you had turnover, just use the average. And then 5, the number of sales qualified leads during this period. This is going to be further down the funnel than marketing. These are people that say, okay, I will talk to you about your service or product. Alternatively, you can call these first appointments, discovery calls, whatever that first meeting or contact with a prospect is in your actual sales process. So now that you have those 5 data points, you are going to make some calculations. First, you will need your average deal size or your average sale size. Take your total sales, the dollar amount, divided by your number of sales, the count, to find this number. So for this example, let's say over the last 6 months, your sales team won 20 proposals and brought in sales of $100,000. So dividing the two, your average deal size is $5,000. Let's also say in this example, you had 2 full-time salespeople during those 6 months. The total number of discovery calls they had combined in the last 6 months was 100. They had 100 discovery calls between the 2 of them. The total number of proposals they sent between the 2 of them were 40. And we already said that they won 20 of those 40. Now we can start to see the math. So the 2 salespeople needed 100 sales qualified leads to send 40 proposals and won 20 of those 40 proposals. So more calculations we now need to do. We need to find the close rate or the win rate. If those 2 salespeople sent 40 proposals, They won 20. That means they have a close rate of 50%. What percentage of leads actually made it to a proposal? So if they had 100 discovery calls between the two of them and they sent 40 proposals, that means 40% of discovery calls make it to proposal. So now we have the full funnel and the percentages of likelihood that they will make it to the next stage in the funnel. Each discovery call has a 40% chance of making it to proposal, and each proposal has a 50% chance of closing. Some of you might have more steps in your pipeline, but it's all the same math for each step in the sales process. Now that you have done all of that backwards math, we can finally start to accurately set revenue goals. You know you sold $10 million this year with 2 salespeople. We said that at the very beginning. If you want to sell $1 million more than last year, and your average deal size is $5,000, this is not making sense at all, but this is all just easy math for the example, and your average deal size is $5,000, you know you'll need 200 more sales, because 1 million divided by your average deal size of $5,000 is 200. So you need 200 more sales. If you need 200 more sales, you know you only close 50% of proposals. So you will need 400 proposals to win those 200 because your close rate is 50%. If you need 400 proposals, you'll need 1,000 more discovery calls since 40% of those leads turn into proposals. You have 2 salespeople. That means they will each need 500 discovery calls more this year, or 41 more each month, around 10 more each week. If that's possible, great. You can set the goals for the sales team now so they know what they need to do in the upcoming year. If it's utterly impossible, then you'll need to add more salespeople to make those 10 more discovery calls a week possible. Okay, so here's another way to think about it. Could each salesperson handle 100 more sales this year, or 8 more each month? That would increase their monthly quota over $41,000. Now, do you think you need to add another salesperson? This is all about evaluating what their capacity is and what quotas are realistic to be asking of them. When we do this exercise on sales funnel math, it's not to say your revenue targets are impossible. It's to make sure that you, as the second in command, know how to work backwards to create the plan to make it possible. Doing this exercise, you'll be able to go to your CEO and say, our current team doesn't have the capacity to hit the revenue goal that you set, but here's how we get there. Here's who we need to hire. That is your superpower as an operations leader. To find show notes and links for anything mentioned in this episode, visit secondfirst.com/36. Be sure to subscribe to catch future episodes and leave us a review on whatever platform you are listening on. Remember, you don't have to navigate being a second in command alone when you have the right-hand roadmap.